You're listening to the BowHunterPlanet podcast, your gateway to the wonderful world of archery.
Hey guys, welcome to the BowHunterPlanet podcast. Dave Thomas tonight, along with Casey from G5, which is going to take us through the Prime launch, which is really exciting. Of course, my co-host Tim Mazaran is here today, so we're going to have some fun. But Casey, welcome to the show. It's been a year, I think, since you've been on, which is usually you come on every year at this time to show us what we got going. So I guess take us through the launch of Prime bows, which is extremely exciting.
Yeah, no, it's been a good year, and we're obviously on here, which means that we've came out with a new bow and we've began our launch. So it's also our busiest time of the year, so we have questions coming in left and right. But we're pretty proud of our bow this year and kind of the advancements that we made. So really excited about it.
It is awesome. So you guys launched, it looks like 3 new bows.
Yep. So we launched 3 different platforms. So we have a 32-inch axle, a 34, and a 36. So it's pretty much the same system, just built into those different configurations. And they all have the same kind of technology. So it's just more personal preference. You have our whitetail hunters that like a little shorter axle, and then you have our longer axle guys. And then you have kind of your 3D target guys. So those are more your 36 axle.
I'm assuming those 36 axle are going to be better suited for those guys with those extremely long lengths too, right?
Yeah. We get a lot of those 6'4" guys that have a 32-inch draw, and those guys. So
yeah, no doubt. There's always a few in there.
Yeah, there are. There are. And
so that was the thing. That was the thing from last year. We didn't get to the 31, which some people are upset about, of course. But this year, you guys were able to do it, which is awesome with this Revex. Revex, how you pronounce it? Revex?
Revex, yep.
Revex 2, 4, and 6. So the 6 will get you 27 to 31.5 or 27.5 to 31.5 draw length. So for those who need that longer draw, that would be the one. The Revex 4 will do 26.5 to 30.5, and the 2 will do 26 to 30. So it's definitely a variety of options. But the good news is for those who really wanted that last year, this year you guys do have it, which is really exciting.
Yep.
Yeah. So Casey, tell us about what's new for some of the tech in these bows this year. What kind of new technology you guys launching with these bows?
So pretty much what we've done is our big thing this year is our cam system. So we changed from a mod system to a draw length specific system. So what that does is it's kind of a pain for us as a company making all these different mods, and for the dealer putting these mods in, but it really maximizes efficiency throughout the draw cycle. So what we noticed last year with our rotating mod system is you get an inefficient draw cycle at your low and your high ends. Because it's just every mod is made for your 29 and a half inch draw. And that's what the engineers are really concentrated on. And we're trying to make our low and our high as good as we can, but you're never going to get it perfect. So to be able to make a mod for each draw length means that you're getting the most efficient draw cycle, the most efficient speeds out of your bow. And it's going to be the same at 27 as it is at 30. So that was kind of our big change for the year. And it feels so much better. I mean, you're 29, you're going to notice it because we did change our draw curve this year. But your 29 is going to feel just like your 27, which it very rarely happens in bows nowadays.
I gotta say that's one thing that I've heard year after year about Prime bows is just the beauty of the draw cycle and how smooth it is. So I'm glad that you guys are keeping that in the forefront of what you're talking about, because that is definitely a big draw for all the people that I talk to that shoot Prime, and there's quite a few of them. So that's great.
Yeah, no, that's one thing I love about our engineers and our team is there's definitely bow trends, and there's things that like the vibration or speed or all of that kind of stuff. And we've really stuck true to what we see being a big difference. And at the end of the day, it's the shot, it's where the arrow hits, and all of our technology is based around that. So we can do little things, which we do every year to help improve vibration or help improve speed. But at the end of the day, our overall goal is to make sure that arrow hits where it's supposed to hit.
No doubt.
Which is kind of one of those things that we did with our cam system here, just to make it as efficient and consistent as we can. Because at the end of the day, that's going to it might make a tiny bit of difference, but any improvement on that is going to be huge.
Yeah, it's cool. This so I was playing around the website just actually I did it the other day, but I'm doing it right now as well. But the cool part is you guys have this like the color patterns that you can assemble on here are pretty cool.
Yep.
I will say that I mean there's a lot of great colors on here. You guys add I don't know if these are add-ons or these are new or you've had them a year or two, but I no matter what I do, if I do the white limbs, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Like it just looks so sweet. Like it's like this is one of the coolest looking bows.
I know I've never done white limbs, but I've been tempted every year, and every time I watch a bow go out with white limbs, it looks so good. But
oh man,
it's funny you say that because I was playing around before we jumped on the call, and I was doing the same thing. And every time I'd mix and match patterns, and every time I landed back on those white limbs myself. So that's why you guys are saying that.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like we've had people we have a prism color, and it's like super metallic, and then white limbs. And people use it for hunting and kill stuff with it year round. One of our biggest killers uses that. And it's just like a color you never would have thought would have worked in the woods, but it looks so good. And I mean, at the end of the day, if the deer gets within 15 yards, it's dead. So
no doubt.
Yeah. So will this bow have the same grip that you guys had on the last year's models?
Yep. So it's called the Nano Grip. Yep. So we have kind of our foam insert, our aerogel, and it really just, you have an aluminum riser and you have your cold hand. And I mean, you grip and it feels it feels just like carbon. So you're not getting any heat or cold transfer from that riser to the grip. There's a nice insulated barrier there.
So you're not going to be able to pull like the Christmas Story thing and put your tongue on it and have your tongue stick.
No, not to the grip. I wouldn't lick the riser, but the grip, you're good.
Right.
That's funny. Yeah, because I remember that grip from last year, and it was a phenomenal grip. That's why I brought it up, just to make sure it's going to be the same. Because I would have assumed that, but I was just double checking. That's all.
Yep. Yeah. No. Most of our technologies, we develop them for 2-3 years. So we like to keep them for a long time until we can find a way to improve it. So that grip's going to stay in our lineup for a while until we figure out something that's a little better.
That's awesome. As far as the target bows go are concerned, it looks like the Revex 6 will be used for target as well as the Black 9 still. Is that accurate?
Yep.
Very cool. Now the Black 9, is that the 4 cam system?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So that's your parallel cam system still.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, there might be some
Very
stuff
cool.
later on down the road where we take that our cam system now and bring it into a target setup.
Very cool. Now, is there any anything happening with Quest right now as far as the Quest bows go?
No, we've launched a few new colors. We have that Morale or the Ridge Rock Scar, the Morale Scar, and we've added black to that series. But those we're kind of just rolling with those right now, the way they are. So they've done pretty well for us.
Awesome. Yeah, I was able to play with that grip thing you guys have with Brian at the Total Archery Challenge in the summer, and that was so cool, man. Like,
yeah,
and I put a video on TikTok and it went ballistic because I think people didn't realize like what that was, or like what is this? You know, it was just really interesting to see, and you know, a lot of great comments about the easy grip. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's done really well for us. And it makes a huge difference, especially those Total Archery Challenges when you have a lot of kids walking up to the booth and it's their first time touching a bow. They don't necessarily know what they're doing. What the easy grip is, for those who don't know, is it's a little training aid that sticks on the side of our bows, our youth series, and it pretty much makes your hand tilt to the sideways, and there's only one way to hold the riser. So it teaches you a good form right off the bat. So a kid has a good experience, and you don't want them, bending their wrist the wrong way and the string whacking the side of their arm and leaving a bad taste in their mouth and them never picking up a bow again. So the easier we can make it off the beginning, the better chance that they're going to be a shooter for life.
I love that. I love that mentality too, because we always talk about next generation and how to get people into it and giving them the best experiences. I mean, it's like any other sport, right? The repetitiveness making sure you got good technique is all important to being successful, and really what keeps hunters around, right? I mean, hunters stick around because they end up being successful, and you guys got the tools to do that, and starting them off at a young age, like you said, I mean, you want them for life. So teaching them young is great. And I love that mentality from you guys. So kudos.
Yep.
As far as the so the one thing that's cool about what you guys do is you have the homeroom, which is, G5 outdoors, and obviously one of the most, I don't even know, I guess, talked about, most used broadheads ever made in history,
No doubt.
the Montec.
Yeah.
I know you obviously aren't changing the Montec, but did anything happen at G5 outdoors with 2023? Is there any like new ones coming or alterations or anything like that?
No, we've actually, I mean, we're always working on stuff, and we are working on a new head that won't be available in 2023, but we're always kind of playing around with stuff. But we've had such good success. So we had our Montec, and then we released our Montec M3. So a little bit stronger version, a different kind of metal. So it's a little bit sharper. We launched that last year. And that's been doing really well, especially out west. It's a big Western broadhead. And then we launched our Mega Meat, and that broadhead has just been crazy good for us right now. So that's kind of been our biggest push and our biggest success story on the G5 side. So that broadhead has just been crazy good for us.
And that Mega Meat, that's your expandable one?
Yep. 3-blade, 2-inch expandable. And yeah, it's especially the whitetail world. It's been phenomenal. And I mean, we changed up a few different things with like blade angle, and stuff like that to still get really good penetration out of a 3-blade 2-inch cut. That's a big broadhead. So to get the penetration we're getting is done really well. And, I mean, we've owned that Montec side. We've owned the fixed blade side for quite a few years now. And we're really trying to own the expandable side too. So
yeah, I'm a big crossbow guy myself, and traditionally use fixed blade. It's just one of those things, and I love Montec, use Montec, killed deer with Montec. But looking at maybe doing expandable next year, are those dead meats? Are those crossbow rated? Can you shoot them through crossbow?
Yep. So yeah, we have a standard version and a crossbow version.
Okay.
We have our dead meats and our Mega Meats both come in both sizes. So it's actually just the collars. So the
Gotcha.
kinetic energy it takes to open them is different on each one of them. So you're not getting, if you use a standard bow out of a crossbow, then you might get a blade open before, just because, especially nowadays, crossbows are so powerful. So
yeah, some of them are ridiculous, and that FSP keeps going up every year, it seems like.
I know it makes it hard on us.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. I don't think it's going up again this year, but we'll see. I don't know. From what I've heard from the birdies in the world, it doesn't seem like it's going to go any higher this year, but who knows, right? Could happen.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, there's got to be a max that you can, potentially reach, but it's, I mean, some of these speeds, and the crazy part is like you test them out of the box and they're actually shooting what they're claiming that they're shooting.
Yeah.
That's the craziest part, is like when they say 500 or they say 490, we're seeing all of that through the chrono. So that's pretty cool stuff. So good to know that there are that you guys have a mechanical that's rated for that. So
I was say you're gonna have to start putting on your package crossbones rated to 505 FPS.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's crazy. As far as so going back to Prime a minute, but as far as let's talk about the accessories, but also attachment points, like how that's going to work on the bow. I guess walk us through that real quick.
Yeah, so I actually have a bow here that's got the accessories on it, so I can kind of go through it real quick. But so one thing that we've done with this Revex line is we've worked with what we consider to be the best products in the industry. So like Hamsky and Tight Spot are the two that we worked with this year, and they're so patent protected and they do such a good job at what they do that instead of us trying to re-engineer something that's not going to be as good because we have to go around all these loopholes, we're just gonna work with the best, period. So that's why we reached out to Tight Spot and created an integrated quiver. So what that did is we made an attachment point right here. So it actually gets you out of your sight housing right here. So it brings it in a little bit more. And it's just your standard Tight Spot mount right there. So it actually just mounts it to a different part of the bow. So you can actually get that super tight And then we also configured it so that you can move it laterally this way. So you have full adjustability, and it's the closest quiver on the market, and especially on the prime bow, you can't normally when you put a tight spot on, you have stuff that's in the way here. So to move it to the side, you can move it as tight as you want. And then what we did with the Hamskea is it's actually just a side bracket right here that aligns it perfectly with our center shot. So we've had really good success with just mounting it on one shot, and there's no tuning with the rest. And it's kind of just to make these accessories just, I mean, as easy as we can get it, and bring that value to the guys instead of kind of like we said, trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now that sight on there is not, that's the dialed, right? I think we had them on the show, Tim, a couple weeks ago.
I was going to say that looks like the dialed. Yeah.
It looks good too. They match it for you guys to match that color because that looks phenomenal.
Yeah, together. So this is our Morel bow, and it matched that sight.
Looks really good.
So yeah. But
love the big hole in there.
You're
missing the white limbs though. You're missing the white limbs.
I am missing the white limbs. No, but it's as tight as a quiver can get, which is pretty cool for us.
Let's talk about last year's camo hot ones. Like, what was the hottest you would say that you guys sold when it comes to the camos? Was like one camo better than another? Was the solids better? I guess what did the best that you saw last year?
Yeah, so our solids are always our best sellers. We do a lot of camo limbs, but because our fit and finish and the way we do, it's one of our best things. So we usually do really well with our solid color rises. We do a really good job with the Morel. And then actually black is always a top seller too. So those are kind of the two that stuck out. And then we have a lot of camo limbs. We did really well with Sitka and First Light that we like we normally do. So we actually offered First Light Spectre this year, which is new to the line. So we brought on that camo pattern as well.
Yeah, it's cool. I see you guys had I noticed, I didn't realize it. I don't know if it was there last year, but is it King's camo?
Yep. So King's camo is done. Yeah. So the XK7, that's of their Western pattern. And it actually did really well out West. Yep.
Yeah, it looks really good. Now, as far as from my perspective, from what I've seen, obviously, you're from Michigan originally and not anymore, but you still are. But
yeah, I am.
The Western Hunter, are they generally, I would assume, and that's why I'm asking the question, are they usually buying like the Revex 4 and 6 type size with a longer axle? Is that what you're normally seeing, or are they still buying 32 and lower?
No, they're, for the most part, they're buying our longer axles. There you're taking usually a longer shot. So you really see our center grip come into effect out there. When you're taking a 20-yard shot, your improvement's going to be little, but when you're shooting 50, 60 yards pretty regularly, then our bows really make a big effect. So having a longer axle, those guys love it out there.
You see them also doing more higher draw weights as well?
No, I want to say our draw weights are pretty it seems like 70 pounds is really the standard bow that goes out. We have quite a bit of 60s too, but I haven't noticed the difference between out west and out east for draw weight.
Good deal. I would have thought that because they're shooting longer distance that they'd be trying pulling back. That's always a little bit of a misconception, is the the higher the draw weight, the better it's going to be at longer distance, but it's not always the case depending on how accurate you are, right?
Yeah.
Accuracy, plays more of a role in shot placement than it does draw weight by any means. Plus your arrow and whether you're going micro or not, and overall grains and all that stuff. But
yeah, and it's in there, the longer axles do get a little bit more speed out of them. So you're getting the speed there too. You don't necessarily need to shoot a higher draw weight.
Very good.
Yeah, it makes sense. And now, as far as the price goes, with the MSRP of this bow, the 2 is $12.99, and the 4 is $12.99, and the 6 is $13.99. Have you guys got any feedback on how that's going so far? Because no reason I'm asking is like the price came out, not just yours, other brands did their prices. You guys are right in line with most of them that I've seen. And most people are like, oh, it went up $100 or whatever, I understand. Listen, I don't want you to think I don't get how this works. I get business. So I understand that everything has gone up in cost, period. Yeah. But are you hearing a lot of like any flack from that or anything on your end so far, or no?
I mean, yeah, there's a little bit. I mean, it's not just our brand, it's every flagship bow right now that's in. I mean, frankly, it comes down to just part cost. I mean, our forgings went up like $80 a piece. So that's your $100 almost right there. And it's not something that we wanted to do. It's just we already offer so much, like with our free strings for life. Like that's a big thing for us, that we don't make as much money off the top as a Matthews or a Hoyt, just because we offer a lot more with our bow that we're already. So to already cut the price like that is really tough for us to do. And it's something that everybody else is doing. Everybody's seeing the increase in forging cost and metal costs. So it's just, unfortunately, it's something that we had to do.
Well, yeah, inflation is real. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the nature of the beast right now, no matter what industry you're in. So,
hey, and welcome to BowHunterPlanet.com podcast. Thank you so much for your support and watching this show here on Carbon TV or listening to it wherever you get your podcast. I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsors who help us bring this show to you guys and keep it interesting and fun. I want to thank Tinks, Cat Work Truck, Camp Chef, Cobra Archery, HHA and HHA USA, Mojack, Thorn Broadheads, Victory Archery, Burris, Reveal Trail Cams, Apex Competitions, Heat Hog, Deer Camp Coffee, and Under Armour. Make sure you check out and log on and sign up on the BowHunterPlanet.com brand new website. It is simple, it is awesome, and it's a great place to chat bow hunting and archery with a whole bunch of like-minded people. So we'll see you soon, and now back to the show.
I can't imagine that you guys would be immune. I mean, at the heart of it, you're in manufacturing, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to get affected by everything that's going on with the broader economy for sure.
Yeah.
So Casey, not to ask the hard questions, but I'm gonna have to ask it because the question is, and I apologize, I'm gonna ask it. I know you're probably not going to answer it, period, but I'm just wondering, from what you're seeing in the industry with carbon, with all these brands launching a carbon, is this something that Prime is thinking about or would even consider in the future as an option?
I mean, we definitely consider it. We've done stuff with carbon in the past, and we've experimented with it, and we, especially with our grip that we came, I mean, there's really no benefit to having a carbon that we've found. I mean, there's certain things like the weight, and most carbon bows weigh just as much as our bow does right now. So with our center grip and our nano grip, we really don't have a benefit to carbon right now. And we're getting so good at, I mean, we've been in the metals industry for 80 plus years. So it's just something we're so good at that we just haven't seen a need for it yet. And it's not saying that, I mean, our engineers are always playing around with it and there's always a chance, but we're not going to go to a carbon riser just to go to a carbon riser because everybody else is. If we do something with carbon, it's going to be something that the other guys aren't doing and it's something that we see a huge benefit in. We're not going to do it just to do it.
I'll only ask him because obviously they're all doing, a lot of them are doing carbons now, not all of them, but you know, it's getting more and more now. Now we're at like, I think 4 out of 6 or 7 or 8 brands. I mean, it's getting up there, but I only bring it up because I see that the industry is moving a little bit towards the higher end of cost. And when I say that, like, you know, if we think about crossbow shooters, they're spending upwards of $3,000 to $4,000 for a setup. This is more than a firearm. This is like really high end pricing, right? So people are more open to spending higher amounts of money, and we're seeing it now with these carbon bows coming in between $1,700 and $1,900 or somewhere in there. And you know, I don't know, the cost of the bow itself could be pretty high. I don't know, you know, for the carbon, if there's an actual good markup there or not. But I would just, my point being is just that I feel like money wise, people are more open to spending it. That doesn't mean it's going to change your, you know, engineering that you think it's necessary or not necessary. I'm just making the point that the price value of what people are willing to spend has gone up. Yes, there's complaints on this $1,299 a course, but when we look at that complaint, it's really baseless because realistically costs are going to go up. But on top of that, people are spending $3,000-$4,000 on these crossbows. It's unbelievable to me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's not even just like the bow side of things. There's products, I mean, even like tree stands. If you look at tree stands, there's your cheap tree stand, and then you can get up to like a Lone Wolf custom gear that's, I mean, twice the price, but people are more than willing to spend it. And I mean, we see that, but like I said, we don't want to bring a product out there. And that's something that I know like our company really stands for, is not bringing something out there just to bring it out there. And like there are a lot of things that we can do that we know would sell well, but it's just not innovative. It's not something different than what other people have done. So we try to stay away from that. If we're going to bring something to the market, it's going to be different, and it's going to be there for a reason.
Yeah, I love that you say that though, because you guys aren't going to do something that doesn't work, right? Just to do it. And that shows in what you guys put out. It's not like you guys are a bow company that's running, 20 different models of a bow. You guys are creating a bow that works, and it works well, and it feels great, and it's a great shooting bow. And you guys have put so much time and effort in making that work that there's no need to have that huge lineup, right? So I think that's a great point, is like you guys come up from a standpoint of, we're going to produce the top quality bows that are out there, and unless we see a need to improve upon, ourselves and the bow and the technology and that kind of thing, why put it out there? Because you're doing the top of the line stuff. So that's a great point, Casey.
So as far as community goes, because it's an important factor. Obviously, the bow hunting community is pretty awesome no matter what. But when I talk about, I want to, specifically the G5 Prime community, where do people go to be a part of that? Like if someone buys the bow and they're like, man, I really want to do more or share my images or my success shots, like where should they go to do all that?
I mean, it's really just tagging us and stuff. So I run our social media too, and I see anything that people tag us in. So that's kind of our best way to do it is we can see, and it's stuff that we do track too, to see how our company's doing, how our company's growing. Just to see that community grow, more shares, more people talking about it. And I mean, that's kind of our main way of communicating with people is through Facebook and Instagram. And we get quite a bit of emails too. So it's a good community out there, and we're trying to do our best that we can to help talk to everybody.
Awesome. And then as far as your setup goes, like what are you running in with your, like what broadhead, what arrows, what are you using specifically?
So I'm running our Revex 4 right now at 70 pounds, 29-inch draw. And then I'm running Mega Meats. I've been running those for quite a few years now and had really good luck with those. And then, our tight spot quiver, our Hamsky rest, the dialed sight. And then arrows, I am using the vectors right now. I think I'll be switching to something different here in the near future. So that's kind of the setup right now.
As far as the accessories go, you mentioned the tight spot. Is that something like if I buy the Prime bow at my dealer, is that something I need to buy at the dealer right there? Or is it like something I can get online for the Prime specific one?
So we will have certain dealers. I mean, it's all depending on if the dealer wants to order some. We're going to offer them to them for sure. But very shortly we will have them on our website and available for it. So, but one question that we've actually had a lot, which I'll kind of address on here, is just if those quivers can fit our previous series bows. So the actual quiver can mount to standard tight spot mount. But we do have that integrated bracket that is unique to the Revex series.
Cool. So that bracket will be on all three models?
Yep.
Very cool. And that Hamsky rest, that is using a bolt, right? And then it brings around the side of it a sort of Picatinny style that it attaches to, correct?
So Hamsky's standard style. So there's like a little Picatinny.
I know the name is for it, what they call it, but comes around like
I think it's their core system.
Core, that's it. Yep. That's awesome. Very cool.
But usually with the Hamsky, you have especially on our bows, just because of where our center shot is. Usually you do have to throw the rest on there and adjust it a little bit just to line it up with the burger hole and get everything set up. So this rest, I mean, you just slap it on there and it's already there, which has been pretty good for us.
Yeah, very cool. As far as the camos go, real quick, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure, is the Morel, is that your camo, a G5 specific?
So that's a solid color, the Morel. And then we have a Morel Scar.
Scar's one I was thinking, sorry. Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yep. So that scar pattern, we actually released it originally on the Quest side of things. We put it on blue for a kid's bow. And then we actually put it on a few different of our solid colors, and it looked really good. So we offered the Morel scar last year, and it did really well for us. So we were going to offer it on our Ridge Rock this year. So it's our Ridge Rock scar. And that's actually what's in most dealers right now.
That looks sweet too. I like that a lot. I think it looks really good. So as far as I'll just throw out the main names that people would know. So you guys have for for this bow, the camos, you have Realtree Edge, you got First Light Spectre, Sitka Subalpine, and King's XK7. Then you have your own internal ones with the Ridge Rock Scar, the Morel Scar, Prism, which is kind of a camo. Yeah, it is. That's cool looking. Wow, that one. What is that like?
It's more of a reflective. It's got a shiny coat on it, so it's more of a target line.
Then Hammered Penny?
Yes, cool. Hammered Penny and Hammered Gray.
Hammered Gray. Then the solids. You guys have a ton of solids here. There's a lot of options for colors, honestly. You guys got Ridge Rock, which is like a tannish brownish. It looks to be. Morel, which we talked about, is a darker color, more of a gray black somewhere in there, maybe green.
Yeah.
A midnight blue.
It's right between a brown and a green.
Grizzly Brown. I like that name. That's cool. And deep red, target only, it says on there.
Yeah.
And then black, which is what, obviously very popular.
A lot of different color choices there. But the one thing every company is missing is the diamond camo. When I'm in Call of Duty and I finish all my challenges, I always put the diamand camo on there, man. We need that.
That's not a bad idea. I like it.
We need to call Call of Duty camos up in here. That's hilarious. Is there any talk or possibilities with colored grips in the future?
No, I mean, we've offered it before in the past before we had this nano grip, and we've just went to standard black right now, but we actually had a few companies. There are some that sell colored grips online. I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but they look really good. So I saw somebody do a red bow, a red riser with white limbs and then a white grip, and it looked so good. That's cool. I know that piqued our interest, and it might be something we do in the future. But I mean, if there are companies doing it and offering it, then we're not going to step on their toes, and they're doing a good job with it. So,
yeah, very cool. As far as hunting goes, how'd your season go, or still going, I should say?
Didn't have much of a season this year. So I moved to Iowa this year, but I just had some family stuff happen. So I ended up back in Michigan for most of the hunting season this year. And I've only got to hunt in like 3 days, but those 3 days were phenomenal. I mean, the deer action was incredible. Iowa's a different place, man. It was awesome. So got to see quite a bit of bucks. I rattled in quite a bit of deer, which doesn't happen in Michigan too often. So
I was gonna say, so Iowa hunting's better than Michigan? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. So no, it was those 3 days were incredible. But we're in the middle of gun season right now, so waiting for that to pass, and then we'll have some time to get out there and chase a few more deer.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, Case. Well, thanks a lot, man, for joining us. Appreciate it, and thanks for walking everybody through the new Prime bow launch and what you guys have to offer. I would suggest, if you're watching this stream or listening, if you have questions or concerns or anything like that, just go ahead and put them in the comments, and we'll get them over to Casey to answer for you guys and get it over to you. So appreciate your time, and thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
The BowHunterPlanet podcast would like to thank our outdoor partners for their support. It's because of these companies we can keep this show educating, entertaining, and growing the archery heritage.